let's talk about the University Trojans. So University is 1-2, coming off a real heartbreaker, 1-point loss to Arlington Heights last week. But to me, it still feels like this team is trending in the right direction under Kent Laster, second year there. Do you guys think that's the case? And is there any chance University can make a run at a playoff spot? DJ, I'll start with you.
I think there is. I think that they'll just make it. I feel like that game against Arlington Heights was just like at the end, just a little bit of bad luck. And like I mentioned in my rewind, you kind of have to make your own luck. Mm-hmm. And so those small little, mishaps that you make really hurt you. So I feel like if they just take care of those small things, they can really make it. Like they can be good enough to see a playoff.
Chad?
Well, losing that game the way they did is troubling for them because they had a 14-point lead and then they took the lead with like a minute, 13 seconds left. They had a lot of injuries on defense, guys that got banged up and had to come out of the game late in the game. So, depth is probably going to be a concern for them. And if depth is a concern in game 3, that in a 7-team district, that kind of makes it hard to persevere through that, and get to the end of the season with enough guys playing that know what they're doing to win key games. So I would say at this point, there may be a year away from making a playoff run. If they make, if they continue to make progress this year, I think it would be a huge story if they did make the playoffs. In fact, we've seen like little things from Midway, Waco High, and University in the past 2 years that they've struggled under new coaches, where every time you think somebody's starting up and then crash bang, they lose by 42 points to Granbury. So
yeah, good points by both of you. Chad, you were following that University game, so you probably knew that they had some guys banged up. But so Texas football actually picked University 5th in that district, so just right out of the playoffs. It's a 7-team district, and certainly not as tough as the district that University came out of before, right, which had Aledo in it, and Aledo is just a frigging machine. They just fall out of bed and win state championships.
Well, we were talking about, perennial powers last week and teams that just every year are right there. And I mentioned Austin Westlake, and Aledo is another one absolutely in that category.
Yeah. So that district includes Leander Rouse, Belton, Pflugerville, Conley, Elgin, and a new school, brand new this year, Killeen Chaparral, a new Killeen school, along with University. So, you're trying to finish in the top 4 in a 7-team district. I feel like University probably will be favored against Elgin and Chaparral. So then basically you need one more win. You need to beat a Belton or a Pflugerville Conley. Probably not Leander Rouse. They're the district favorite. But I do feel like University is trending in the right direction. Now, Chad, you mentioned the injury situation. That certainly is a concern for any team that's dealing with injuries. But to me, a good sign for University is in the last 2 weeks, they've put up almost 100 points. I mean, granted, 67 of those came in one game 2 weeks ago. But you talk about a way to get your first win. That's a way to get your first win. Almost put up 70 points. And then they followed up with 27. And I think Mekhi Sandoff is really showing to be a big-time playmaker for them at running back. He was good last year, but, yeah, I like where University's going.
Well, everybody loves to have triplets, and their quarterback's name, I heard pronounced on the broadcast, Mangani.
Mm-hmm.
And Mangani is, getting some things done. And then he's got Makai Sandolph in the backfield along with Najee Drake there in the backfield with him. And then London Smith has been the breakout star of Central Texas football so far this season.
Absolutely. I was telling DJ earlier this week a little bit of his background. So London Smith, just a freshman for University, absolutely will be one of the candidates for Super Centex Offensive Newcomer of the Year.
Mhm.
But London Smith is the son of Rodney and Stacy Smith. Rodney, of course, was a great University player, University coach football and basketball. Now is an assistant athletic director for waco-isd. And then Stacy Smith, and both of these two, by the way, Rodney and Stacy, both former Super Centex Athletes of the Year. Rodney at University, Stacy was a year behind him. I think she graduated like 95 from La Vega. She was state champion in track. She led them to the state basketball tournament and then went on to Baylor, where she won NCAA championship in the triple jump, and now is a Baylor track coach, has been for the last 20 odd years. So he comes from good athletic genes.
And by the way, big sister is a stud on the Midway volleyball team. Right?
Yeah, Sydney Smith. She's a senior. And the other thing I'll just mention quickly about London. So I have some friends who are big into soccer, and they have a son who's London's age. And London was on their like hot soccer team growing up, like when, 5, 6, 7 years old or whatever. And he was always pretty fast, pretty good, So
right.
This kid's been an athlete for a while.
I have to share that I was covering Midway volleyball one night against Lorena, and I look up in the stands on the visiting side, and there's not only the great Rodney Smith sitting there, but about 5 seats to his left is the great Tracy Saul. So
yes, Tracy Saul's daughter is on Midway's volleyball team. Tracy was a tremendous Texas Tech football player.
Yep, 25 career interceptions. That's a lot.
That is.
Yeah.